Welcome everyone to another episode of T-Shirt Cooking. Today this video is going to be a little bit different and we'll try and do it all in real time. We're doing this because this is one of my easiest recipes ever. It's just a combination of ingredients, it's not even really a recipe. The ingredients are as follows: 150 grams of cold cut chicken, 3 small slices of bacon, 2 slices of cheese of your choice, 1 small cucumber, red onion, sweet pickle slices, a piece of bread, custom sauce of your choosing. Now the first things first, we're going to preheat both the air fryer and the mini oven. The mini oven is preheated on bake at 400 and the air fryer is preheated at 400 as well. Now we're going to wait for them to preheat, and while we do that, we're going to handle the cutting of our vegetables. Using a decent mid-range quality knife, I attempt to cut the onion in slices to spread across the sandwich bread. Now I've only cut up about 1/4 of the red onion, and that's just because I don't need the rest. And about half of it is rotten to some extent, so we're just going to avoid that entire half of the onion. This is what happens when you buy your fruits and vegetables from a local grocery store, which I won't give the exact name, but it starts with an L, and if you go to that parking lot, you're most definitely going to get your car dented. Won't say the name. If you buy your fruits and vegetables there, you'll get them at 50% less than any other supermarket. The only issue is that you'll have to throw about 80% of it. So are you really saving? It's hard to tell. It looks like our air fryer is now ready. We're gonna put the bacon in the air fryer, and we're still saving the oven for the bread, which we're gonna melt with the cheese inside. Now I set the timer to the air fryer for about 7 minutes because that's how long it should take. Admittedly, I don't usually put bacon in any of my sandwiches. However, I have some bacon in the fridge that's likely gonna go bad very soon. So I'm just trying to recycle as many ingredients as possible. That's also what I did with this red onion. And that's what I'm doing with this cucumber as well. I'm not doing that with the cheese or the meat though. The cheese and the meat were on special, that's why it's here. And this bread, I didn't pay for this bread either. I went to get this at my parents' house. And the sauce, I mean, I wasn't buying a whole container of Chipotle sauce for $11. So I just made my own custom sauce, which you could find in my YouTube shorts. I feel like that YouTube short video that I made is highly underappreciated. I don't think people understand that I made that beat myself. I spent 2 days learning Ableton just to make that beat, and now I've completely forgotten everything about Ableton. The next step is we'll peel the cucumber. In this case, this was a pre-washed cucumber, allegedly. However, I don't have much faith in the grocery store, so I decided to wash it myself, and now we're going to peel it. For the cucumber, when I peel them, I usually leave some of the outside layer. I don't know if there's vitamins in that or not. I really never bothered to research it, but also because it adds some sort of crispiness. I feel like if you remove all the peel, it's not necessarily as crispy. Maybe I'm just making all that up, I really don't know. We'll first start by cutting it vertically or perhaps horizontally depending on the orientation of the cucumber, and then we'll cut it vertically again. Usually I edit this part out. However, something tells me I won't edit any of this out. Put my lack of culinary skills on full display here. Now that the cucumber has been diced to some extent, I'm going to check on the bacon and we'll see what it looks like. Still looks like bacon. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and separate it from the bottom. Now the reason I decided to open up the air fryer at halfway to check on the bacon is just because sometimes if you leave the bacon cooked the entire 7 minutes, it's going to get stuck to the bottom. So instead I take it out halfway and I just move it a little bit just to be certain that it doesn't stick. By now we're about ready to cut open this bread, and we'll use the same knife to reduce the amount of dishes. And it doesn't matter about cross-contamination because, I mean, it just doesn't matter. There's no cross-contamination in my house. There's no cross-contamination here. If you drop something on the floor, you could just eat it whenever you want. There's no 5-second rule. It's about 25 seconds now because of inflation. Admittedly, I rarely eat bread, so I'm about to cut this bread, and we're gonna see if there's perhaps a specific way to do it. Maybe like this. I don't eat bread, by the way. I don't know if I've mentioned that. I'll likely mention it many times in this video. I don't eat bread. I guess I would open it like this. See, we're learning together. We'll take this cheese. Good thing I only took out 2 pieces of Havarti cheese. Put one like this, and we'll put one like that. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the oven pan, which has been conveniently pre-prepared with a pre-cut piece of parchment paper, and we'll put the bread in like this. Now we'll put the bread in the oven for maybe 2-3 minutes, I think. We're gonna see what we get. At the same time, the bacon should be ready by now. So what we're gonna do is we're going to air it out and let it sit. Because if you take bacon right away out and try to eat it, it's gonna be very mush. If you let it sit for a bit, it's gonna crisp up. If you watched carefully, I unnecessarily put on that oven mitt. Now a trick here that I like doing with sweet pickle slices is I'll take some out and I'll put them on that Scott towel right there so they could dry out. Admittedly, I would have liked this for the burger video. However, at the time we didn't have the budget for this, but now we do. Now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna turn them around a little bit, and they're dry and we can take them off. It's just to remove that excess, whatever liquid is on them. Honestly, I don't even know. Is this one good? Yeah, it's good. And this is probably about as dirty as my kitchen ever gets. Right now there's crumbs all over the place. I don't really know what's going on. So I took the bread out of the oven and it seems to be adequately toasted. The cheese seems partially melted, not fully melted. I didn't really think this through, but I assume I'm just gonna cut these cold cuts in half like this. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I don't really eat sandwiches or anything with bread, so I'm not really used to this. What inspired me to make this video was that when I seen that somebody ordered a alleged foot-long sandwich at Subway and paid $16, the first thought that came to my mind is, wow, that's not a foot long. And the second thought that came to my mind is, I can't believe you just spent $16 on that. You should have just came to my house and gave me $16 and I would have figured something out.
At this point, the mic cut. However, as you can see, I placed the bacon lengthwise into the sandwich for easy biting, and then I add a portion of the red onions.
Everything you see here, I've either taken it from somebody else's home or I bought it on special. There's no chance I'm paying full price for anything. A fun life hack that I use is I dictate what I'll be eating for dinner based on what's on the front page of the circulars. And what's good about that is that just about every week you're eating something different. And then you end up discovering new foods. Now that we put all the onions, we're gonna put some of the sweet pickles. And we'll put a lot of the cucumber slices, and whatever I decide not to put, I'm just probably gonna eat. And now we're gonna add some of the custom sauce that I made. Now, as you likely noticed, I don't really make sandwiches often, and I don't really eat bread, and I did not calculate the amount of stuff that's in the sandwich, and I really don't know how I'm going to get this to close. I'm going to try a few different things, and we'll cut out whatever didn't work. Alright, so I got the sandwich to close and I'm holding it closed with one of my fingers because I fear it's going to open. What we're going to do is we're going to take some photos and then we'll come back to do some taste testing. Alright guys, we finally got to the time of tasting. Thank you for still being here. Now we have the sandwich, we took some photos. I just got rid of some stuff on the counter. I didn't really clean, just crumbs everywhere. I'd also like to take the time to mention that my door handle is still not fixed, and that's likely because I still can't monetize this channel, therefore the door handle will stay unfixed indefinitely. Please tell your friends and family about this soon to be #1 online cooking show. Alright, it's time to pick this up and bite it. So far it hasn't fallen completely apart, and that's already a lot more than what I expected. Now, the first thing I noticed is as soon as I picked this up, everything started falling. There's like some sauce, some cucumbers, things are just falling, but I guess that's part of the sandwich experience. Took a bite and I have to say there's a good proportion of veggies to meat to bread. Thankfully, I don't taste much of the bread. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this at some point throughout the video, but I don't really eat bread. I don't like the taste. I don't like the texture in my mouth. It's a bit weird, but I do know a lot of you do, and that's why I decided to make this video. I have to say the bacon was a good touch. Initially, I didn't want to put the bacon, but as I mentioned prior, the bacon was about to be expired, so I decided to throw it in. I would say the big hit is the sauce mixed with the cucumbers and the sweet pickles. That's really the trifecta that's holding this sandwich together. Yeah, so this is definitely a good sandwich. I'd say that this is something that perhaps you could even bring for lunch. However, I would always say to not assemble it, especially things like sauce or the veggies that could sog up the bread and the rest. It doesn't matter really if you eat the bacon cold. It doesn't have to be warm. I mean, as long as it's cooked properly. The rest, if you would maybe pre-chop it, put in a separate Tupperware, you could assemble it at work. I don't really know any of your situations at work. Perhaps you're working construction and you're working on the site and you can't do something like this. But I mean, I do know that some people work at construction sites where maybe there's a microwave, there's a mini oven, or they could bring a lunchbox and they could have multiple Tupperwares. I don't know. Now, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but I don't really eat sandwiches or eat bread. But I have to say, and I have to admit that this sandwich is quite good. There's a few different flavors that I'm getting from it and I like it. Good mix of veggies. I'd say that this sandwich is of approximately the same size as a Subway sandwich, so I'd say less than 12 inches. Thank you all for watching another episode of T-Shirt Cooking, and I'll see you guys next time. I'd also like to take the opportunity to say that I haven't been uploading as often, but that's due to the fact that the weather is really nice outside, due to the fact that I've screwed up 3 or 4 recipes in the past 10 days or so, and due to the fact that I've been having problems computing. That won't stop T-shirt cooking. None of those things will ever stop T-shirt cooking. We will look forward, push forward, and we just keep going. They could throw whatever obstacles they want at T-shirt cooking. That just raises the bar for its legacy.